Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient. Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient.
Welcome to week 9 of our Write Your Story series. This is Your Voice Matters with Jen Chambers. And this week, week 9, we're talking about the power of theme. It's subtle, but powerful. Your theme is the thread that weaves through your story. This is your big idea, your lesson, your emotional truth that keeps showing up. It's what gives your story some depth and makes it resonate with other people. And your theme is one of the things that your readers remember long after they've turned the last page. But here's the most important truth I want you to hear today. You are a writer. If you've lived, you have stories. And if you've felt pain, joy, confusion, or hope, you already carry the material. You have it in you. Writing just teaches you how to shape it. Every story is valid. Every truth matters. Your story helps you. And when you're sharing it, it heals others too. In this episode today, we're going to cover how to identify your story's theme, how symbols and motifs can reinforce your message, and how to rewrite a scene to make the theme more clear. First, we've got our writing exercise, finding and strengthening theme. Finding your theme is at the same time an easy thing and an almost impossible thing. It's hard to have distance when it's your own story, right? I mean, I happen to know a lot of teachers. My life is pretty teacher heavy. So these teachers could write their stories as maybe a series of things that they've learned, or also things that were meaningful that they've taught. Or they could write about things that they've learned about themselves through a series of students with names that were changed, of course, for privacy. Their through theme is teaching, right? Or learning. And you could write a story simply as your life through a series of bad choices, maybe, or how you coped with them. Your theme then would be choices, right? Even if your chapter or your story or your giant book is more of a stream of consciousness model, there's likely something that joins things together. Sometimes you have to be really brave to see it. I invite you to think deeply about the meaning behind the stories you tell. All right, for our first exercise, it's called the one-sentence theme test. I want you to think about your entire story or your entire chapter or story that you're writing. I want you to quickly read what you've already written or what you plan to write. As you read this, I want you to grab a stack of Post-its or a highlighter and jot down or flag the important events in it. While you're doing this, I want you to ask yourself, if my reader walked away with just one message after they read it, what would I want it to be? Some examples are, even in brokenness, we're whole. Or something like, what we survive doesn't define us, what we do next does. There's a lot of books about motherhood, and one of those could be, the themes there could be motherhood is not martyrdom, it's transformation. So now I want you to write your own. I want you to keep this under 15 words if you can. Make it, short and pithy. You can definitely ask Google or ChatGPT to help you make it more concise if you want to. There's no grading here. Or you can shorten it to one single idea. Is it about family or love or revenge or redemption? Then I want you to post this word or theme somewhere that you see all the time. Either on your fridge or in your stove, on top of your stove, or near your bed, even where you brush your teeth. This is your North Star. This is something that you need to remind yourself why this is important. All right, our second exercise today is called Discovering Symbols and Motifs. Think back through your story. So you've just looked at it. Are there images? Are there objects? Or are there scenes or moments that repeat? These symbols don't have to be fancy. It could be motifs like a kitchen table or a backpack that keeps showing up. Maybe it's rain, very symbolic, a crow, a burned out candle. Something from your real life that keeps showing up. You see these kinds of motifs a lot in fiction. Oh, excuse me, big yawn. And those motifs are there for a reason. I just finished the new Hunger Game novel, Sunrise for the Reaping, and she does a wonderful job. Like I say, it's fiction, of course, but she has some symbols in every one of those books that are symbolic to the entire thing, the entire book, and also symbolic to certain characters. Think about the places too. If you keep writing about being on a road or having a road, you're being on the road or something along those lines, chances are you or your character or a character you're reading, I just realized on the road, of course, they're a seeker of some kind, right? Or you have unfinished business. Symbols are kind of like tarot cards that way. They give your reader some extra information because of what they can symbolize. Kind of interesting. So the prompt here, I want you to take just a minute and list 3 objects or settings that repeat in your story. What might they symbolize to you? So is your story, if you talk about the kitchen, for example, that can be a place of nurturing, family expectations, a place for joyful celebrations. It could also be a place of tension. It could be a place of fear. It could be a place where those expectations are crippling. So there's different ways you can use that. Maybe somehow the idea of shoes keeps popping up. So that could be movement, or you're leaving, or it's a transition. Those are things you can add to your story too, if they happen to fit. Or maybe somehow you keep coming back to the idea of water that's cleansing you. It's something that you have to surrender to because you can't control it. Or maybe you're drowning in expectations or something. So think about the things that might symbolize the things happening in your story. All right, number 3. We're going to rewrite one of those scenes that you've written through the lens of theme. So I want you to pick a scene that you've already written. Now I want you to rewrite it, and we're going to rewrite it differently with your theme in mind. If your theme is resilience, maybe you change the tone of the ending. If your theme is freedom, maybe you emphasize the character's first act of defiance. That way it's so much more meaningful at the end because we know what the character has gotten through to get there. So I want you to reread one of your scenes and ask yourself, where can I show, not tell, my theme more clearly? Can a symbol or an image underscore this moment? It's interesting. So once you've rewritten that, we've got another exercise, but this one's a little bit different. I'd like you for number 4 to draw something symbolic from your story. Nobody's asking you to be an artist. I want you to take a piece of paper, though, and physically draw out some of the things that are symbolic for your story. If that's too much, and I get that, I'm not an artist really, you could collage it. print out pictures or take pictures from catalogs or magazines and make an old-fashioned cut and paste collage. Part of what's really important here, I think, is the physicality of the exercise. You get to dream out the landscape of what you're writing as you work with your hands. This isn't only a good representation of the work itself, but it can be a really powerful, tangible reminder of who you are and why you're going to all this trouble. It helps reinforce the idea that you're worth it. And if you put it somewhere near where you write, you'll see that every time you see it over your desk. Okay, for resource highlights this week, one of the really helpful books that I'd recommend is called Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. This is a wonderful writing book. I go back to this one again and again. She reminds us that writing is a spiritual and physical act, one that's messy and honest and rooted in trust. She teaches us to, quote, keep our hand moving, unquote, and let the truth spill out, even when it's uncomfortable. In her world, writing isn't about perfection. It's about presence. I think that's completely true and a beautiful way to anchor yourself when exploring theme. It's about being there and showing up and representing. Another book that I think is helpful is called You Don't Have to Be Famous by Steve Zusmer. Zusmer's goal is to get you to the finish line and to write your memoir or your autobiography or your chapter. He describes many methods to get there and lots of different ways to organize your thoughts. And he has interesting ways to add in different angles. But he also says, quote, get it down, then get it right, unquote, which I can appreciate. His book is really helpful in learning how to tell your truth, even when it's hard. Now, he has an interesting thing to think about regarding themes. As you write all parts of your story, you might ask yourself, why? Why in the world am I doing this? Is it just to hear myself talk or watch myself write? Zusner contends that your story will be better if you're clear on the reason. I don't necessarily say that you have to do that, but it's definitely interesting and it's helpful sometimes to write towards a target. So his motivations for writing are, number one, discovery. What can you find out about yourself that you can only find when you examine it? Number two is for posterity, writing as a reminder that you were here, that you lived, that your life is just as important as anyone else's, as any random famous person, just because you existed. His third motivation is for history, so that something that you experienced is not lost. And his last one, 4, is because you want to fulfill your creative impulse. This one could arguably be more important, in my opinion. Writing is art. Art is important, full stop. Not every type of writing or art is for all people, but all of it has value. These are important things to think about that might make you feel more confident of your theme as you write. Are you doing it for discovery, posterity, for history, or to fulfill your creative impulses? Any of them are valid and they're all important. So lastly, I want you guys to think today that themes aren't about forcing meaning into your story. It's more about uncovering the truth that's already there. Writing reveals the truth to you. You write to understand. Your job is to listen for it, to shape it, and to let it shine. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest. Your story matters. Your truth is a gift. And your words, they are more powerful than you know. Thanks so much for joining me today. Talk to you next week.
Sometimes we have to start over. Sometimes we have to fight back. Sometimes it's all too Sometimes we need to lift the voices of those who've overcome and expose